Chapter 80 Hanzo's Trap and Yahiko's Counterattack. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Stop hiding the ninjas who are hiding in the dark, come forward. After hearing Yahiko's words, Hanzo frowned. Yahiko was not as stupid as he thought. He actually guessed that he had set up an ambush in the dark. In this case, Hanzo no longer hides and tucks away. After snapping his fingers, dozens of Rain Ninja elites appeared behind Hanzo. Everyone was fully armed and their eyes were filled with fighting intent. Is this Hanzo-sama sincerity? Seeing the dark ninjas of Amagakure village, Yahiko's face suddenly darkened. At the same time, he was also secretly glad that he did not follow the agreement and brought a large number of elites from the Akatsuki organization to come here for the appointment. Otherwise, he would have suffered a disaster today, and maybe his life would have stayed here. Thinking of this, Yahiko waved his hand behind him, and a large number of ninjas appeared behind him. The appearance of the two parties made the atmosphere at the negotiation table extremely tense. They looked at each other's troops and silently estimated the combat effectiveness of the enemy and ourselves. The moment he saw Akatsuki organizing ninjas, Hanzo knew that his ambush plan had failed. However, this also proves the threat of the Akatsuki organization. Even if he pays more than half of the casualties, he will still eliminate the core members of the Akatsuki organization here. After pondering for a moment, Hanzo said to Yahiko. Leader Yahiko, I didn't expect that in just over a year, you would gather so many ninjas under your command. If you are given a few more years, you might really be able to become a leader. This is all thanks to Hanzo-sama. If Hanzo-sama hadn't turned a blind eye to the current situation in the Land of Rain, they would not have chosen to join the Akatsuki organization. Yahiko looked directly into Hanzo's eyes and spoke in a very sharp tone. After hearing Yahiko's sarcasm, Hanzo's face darkened. What Yahiko said was true. If he had concentrated on governing Amagakure village and the country of Rain in the past few years, Yahiko would never have so many ninjas under his command, but the limit of the Kingdom of Rain lies here. No matter how it develops, it can only make breakthroughs. Since there is no hope of becoming the 6th largest ninja village, it is better to let it go. As long as the borders are sealed, everything will slowly get better. However, after seeing Yahiko, Hanzo seemed to see another version of himself and said coldly. Boy Yahiko, becoming a leader is more difficult than you think. You can't manage the Kingdom of Rain just by relying on unity and friendship and giving some small favors to the villagers. You don't know how strong the enemies faced by the Rain country are, nor how difficult it is to actually get started. Once the Kingdom of Rain has the idea of rising and becoming stronger, it will usher in the covetousness of the 3 surrounding big countries, and they will jointly target the Kingdom of Rain. Having said this, Hanzo has no regard for the feelings of his ally Danzo. Is this the reason why Hanzo-sama left things alone? Yahiko's face was full of disappointment. After meeting him for real, he realized that the hero of Agakure in his heart, Hanzo Sanshoya Hanzo of the ninja world, had degenerated into a rotten old guy. After a pause, Yahiko said sadly, Hanzo-sama, as long as you make changes, it is a good thing. You will be able to realize your dream one day. Hanzo's face was expressionless, showing no interest in Yahiko's mouth escape. He did not forget that today's goal was to eliminate the Akatsuki organization, not to argue with the Akatsuki organization. He only needed to physically deal with people like Yahiko. After thinking of this, Hanzo stopped talking nonsense and used the teleportation technique to bring White Knight over. At this time, Bai Ye was tightly bound by a rope, with a sharp blade coated with poison hanging across his neck, and his face was filled with fear. Seeing this scene, Yahiko frowned. Hanzo, what do you mean? Hanzo remained expressionless and said calmly, Yahiko, I'm not here to negotiate, but to let you choose. Would you choose to watch Bai Ye die, or trade with your own life? After hearing this, Yahiko was stunned, and Konan and Nagato were also stunned. The real purpose of Hanzo's peace talks was to let Yahiko die. The Akatsuki organization had never done anything to disgrace Amagakure village, and there was not even blood on Yahiko's hands. However, at this time Yahiko was caught in a decision. Hanzo actually gave him a choice between 2 problems. If he was unwilling to commit suicide, the other party would kill Bai Ye directly, but if he really dies, will Hanzo really abide by his agreement? At this time, Yahiko suddenly remembered what Bai Ye once said to him. When faced with a dilemma, no matter what choice he made, it was wrong. The best way was to let them face the same problem. If it doesn't work, just type the question directly and the problem will be solved perfectly. At that time, he felt that Bai Ye was very rogue, acting like a child, arrogant and unreasonable, but now it seemed that he could only choose this way. Once you fall into the trap of self-certification, you will completely lose the initiative. After gesturing towards Nagato and the others behind him, Yahiko showed a determined look, and while walking towards Hanzo, he issued a soul torture. Hanzo, I can agree to your request, but how can you guarantee that you won't break the contract? Hearing this, Hanzo raised a smile, and then said seriously. I swear on the name of Sanshuyu, I will never betray my faith. And there is nothing to fear after losing your Akatsuki organization. Hearing this, Yahiko sighed softly and continued to approach Hanzo's position. When he was about to approach Hanzo, he suddenly pulled out the dagger from his waist and stabbed directly at Hanzo's body. As long as Hanzo was taken down, all problems could be solved. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Konan and Nagato also disappeared and rushed forward to rescue Byakuya. Whoosh! Yahiko's thrust failed, and Hanzo easily escaped Yahiko's control. At the same time, he looked in the direction of Konan and Nagato and shouted. Fire release, exploding flame array. The next moment, the ground under Byakuya's feet suddenly transformed into an explosive talisman, which seemed to have life force and flew towards Konan and Nagato, causing a dense explosion. It is naturally impossible for the detonating talisman to harm Konan and Nagato, but this is not necessarily true for Byakuya. Just when Konan and Nagato looked at Bai Ye worriedly, it was not Bai Ye who ran out of the fire, but another figure with an appearance they had never seen before. That person is not Bai Ye. Where is Bai Ye? After realizing this, Konan and Nagato were confused. Yahiko looked at Hanzo's position and asked, Hanzo, where did you hide Byakuya? Hanzo looked confused. In fact, he didn't know where Bai Ye had gone. However, since Yahiko's plan to commit suicide failed, he could only deal with these young people here personally. After giving the order to kill without mercy, Hanzo pulled out the scythe wrapped with a chain around his waist and rushed towards Yahiko's position. Chapter 81 Learn the Style of a Demigod. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the narrow basin, Akatsuki and the Hidden Rain Village are fighting. The reason for the fight between the two sides is not just a misunderstanding, but a deeper reason is a dispute over ideas. As a new faction in the Rain Country, Akatsuki is not satisfied with its current status and has challenged the Hidden Rain Village. As an old power, the Hidden Rain Village is also unwilling to see the rise of Akatsuki and threaten its status. As a bystander, Danzo doesn't care who wins or loses, but only cares whether he can weaken the strength of the Hidden Rain Village and gain enough benefits from it. Standing on the cliff, Danzo looked down at the battlefield under his feet while waiting for the right time to enter. Among the two sides, he focused on Yahiko, Nagato, and Konan. These three ninjas who have been taught by Jiraiya are very powerful. Not only do they all have the strength of a senior ninja, but they can also work together to not lose to Hanzo. This made Danzo frown. You should know that the last ninja who tied with Hanzo was the Konoha Sannin, who now have a pivotal position in the entire ninja world. Although Hanzo's strength has declined a lot with his age, and he has not yet summoned the summoning beast Salamander. But it is enough to prove the potential of Yahiko, Nagato, and Konan. Jiraiya actually cultivated such ninjas in the enemy country, and it is really wrong not to bring Yahiko and others back to Konoha. After both sides consumed most of their physical strength, Danzo issued an order to assist Hanzo's forces. However, he stayed on the cliff all the time and had no intention of going down in person, which made Aburame Ryoma on the side a little confused. After all, Danzo usually acts with them. Danzo glanced at Aburame Ryoma. He knew Ryoma's thoughts, but he was not obliged to explain. The reason why he didn't go down now was because he noticed something was wrong. Just now, he witnessed the explosion of the detonation of the talisman flame formation with his own eyes, but the person who appeared at the center of the explosion was not Bai Ye, but someone else. So, where did Bai Ye go? What on earth does Bai Ye want to do? After such doubts emerged in his mind, Danzo became hesitant. The current events were completely beyond his control. His intuition told him not to act rashly and to be ready to evacuate at any time. Below, after using the water instant body to dodge the bombing of the detonating tag, Hanzo's figure appeared dozens of meters away. Wiping the rain off his face, he looked in the direction of Yahiko and the other two. His eyes were extremely fearful. Yahiko, Konan and Nagato all have the strength of a jonin. Among them, Yahiko is the easiest to deal with. Yahiko's style is the most traditional. He only knows one or two ninjutsu, and his physical skills are also acceptable. In a one-on-one situation, he can take it down in half a minute, but Konan and Nagato are very difficult to deal with. Konan's paper escape secret technique can be immune to his good physical skills, and the water escape is not so obvious against paper escape. He can only rely on the superb instant body technique to dodge continuously. Nagato's physical skills are very poor, even inferior to ordinary chunin, but he has many weird abilities. Hanzo didn't even dare to get too close to Nagato, and kept avoiding fighting with him. After the three of them joined forces, Hanzo felt unprecedented pressure, even greater than the battle with the three ninjas back then. I just don't know if he is old or if these young people are too strong. Tianin Wanxiang. After hearing Nagato's muffled low roar, Hanzo quickly used the water instant body to dodge, and after landing on a rock, he looked at the position above the cliff, his heart full of anger and helplessness. What kind of ninjutsu is this inexplicable gravity and repulsion? Why didn't Danzo come down in person? Isn't he worried that after he is solved, he will be besieged by these little ghosts? Or did Danzo actually contact the people of the Akatsuki organization in secret? Shinra Tensei. After dodging the repulsive attack with difficulty, Hanzo was hit head-on by the detonating talisman, and his blood and chi surged in his body, and several ribs were broken. After wiping the blood from his mouth, Hanzo glanced at his subordinates who suffered heavy casualties around him. At present, he has used all the conventional ninjutsu, but still can't deal with these brats of Akatsuki. Next, he can only rely on the salamander and launch an indiscriminate poison attack together. Although it will poison many subordinates because of its indiscriminate nature, there is no other choice now. After performing the instant body technique again and pulling away hundreds of meters, Hanzo bit his finger, slapped his hands directly to the ground, and shouted loudly, "Spirit summoning technique." In an instant, a thick white smoke formed on the spot. The moment he saw the white smoke, Yahiko and the other two quickly pulled away and said to the subordinates behind him, "Everyone, leave this place 5 kilometers and wear gas masks." The rain-hidden ninja and the roots of Konoha also put on masks. They have all heard of the reputation of the salamander's toxins. After a few seconds, the thick white smoke dissipated, revealing the salamander's true body like a giant salamander. On the top of the salamander's head, there stood a young figure holding a grass root. The young man was Bai Ye. When the salamander was summoned by the psychic technique, he jumped onto the salamander's back and teleported to the war with the salamander. Bai Ye's conspicuous appearance attracted everyone's attention. When seeing Bai Ye appear with the salamander, Yahiko, Konan and Nagato were stunned. They never thought that Bai Ye would appear in this way. "Bai Ye, it turns out that you are fine, but why are you here?" Yahiko asked worriedly, and Nagato and Konan also expressed their concern, but they were more shocked. "Let's talk about old times later." Bai Ye jumped off the Sanshuyu, looked at Hanzo in front of him, and said in a faint tone, "Teacher Hanzo, I'm here to inform you that I have taken over Yuin village. If you don't want to die, it's better to surrender as soon as possible. I don't want to bear the stigma of killing my master, although my reputation itself is not very good." Yuin village was taken over. At this moment, even Yahiko was stunned. He was still discussing how to rescue Byakuya on the front line, and even started a fight with Hanzo, the leader of Amigakure village. The result now told him that the person involved was fine at all, and he also stole Hanzo's home. The twists and the amount of information were overwhelming for him, and he couldn't digest it for a while. However, Hanzo sorted out his thoughts. Bai Ye not only deceived him by some means, but also controlled his psychic beast and took over Yuin village in just one morning. After finishing all this, Bai Ye appeared in front of him and said that he didn't want to kill him. Thinking of this, Hanzo felt unspeakable humiliation in his heart. After clenching the hilt of the knife in his hand, he used the teleportation technique to come to Bai Ye and cut him down hard. However, Bai Ye only glanced at Hanzo briefly, and the diamond chain behind him blocked the attack. Since Hanzo-sensei wants to fight, as a disciple, I can only experience the demigod style. Chapter 82 Demigod is old. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The Uzumaki clan's sealing technique, King Kong seal, that the well-informed Hanzo recognized the sealing technique used by Bai Ye at a glance, and his face became a little ugly. He originally thought that Nagato was the only Uzumaki descendant in the Akatsuki organization, but he didn't expect Byakuya to be related to the Uzumaki clan. Thinking of the identities of Nagato and others as disciples of Jiraiya, Hanzo began to wonder if all this was a conspiracy by Konoha. After all, no matter who wins or loses in this battle, Konoha will benefit from it. However, he understands Danzo and knows that for Danzo, his own interests are greater than the interests of the village, so the outcome of this battle is not yet known. As long as Danzo joins the fight, their side still has hope of victory. Thinking of this, Hanzo looked in the direction of Danzo, and all eyes turned to the top of the cliff, converging on Danzo. Feeling the gaze on him, Danzo's face darkened, then he turned around and ran away, leaving only a few close friends behind and disappeared over the cliff. If Hanzo gains an advantage, he will naturally go over to ask for benefits, consolidate their friendship, and gain a group of prisoners with research value. But the current situation is that Hanzo is old. It was very difficult to face Jiraiya's 3 disciples, and the hope of victory was very slim. And Byakuya's appearance was the last weight that broke the camel's back, completely shattering Danzo's idea of getting involved in this matter. In the final analysis, Hanzo, who has even controlled the psychic beast Sanshuyu, has lost his use value. Sensing Danzo's escape direction, Byakuya narrowed his eyes slightly, then looked at Hanzo and said, "Teacher Hanzo, your reinforcements seem to have escaped." Hanzo didn't need Byakuya's reminder to understand that Danzo had betrayed him. However, he had no time to dwell on the betrayal. He had to face 4 young but powerful elite jounin. Leader Yahiko, seniors Nagato and Konan, go deal with that group of soldiers. After stopping Yahiko and others who wanted to surround Hanzo, Byakuya walked straight towards Hanzo. He wanted to use the hand of the demigod to test what level his strength was. After looking at each other, Byakuya and Hanzo stood together without any nonsense. The first round was a pure taijutsu contest. Byakuya felt the pressure brought by Hanzo's teleportation technique. The fierce attack left him no time to use ninjutsu. He could only rely on the passiveness of paper release to avoid Hanzo's slashing attack. The second round was a ninjutsu contest. The paper release that fell like raindrops faced off against Hanzo's water release ninjutsu. Byakuya was also full of pressure. Unlike the impression that water escape ninjas can achieve miracles by relying on their strength, Hanzo's water escape is very strange. The timing of each use of water escape is very good, and he can connect some small ninjutsu that are difficult to prevent in the gaps in the battle. Even with the passivity of paper release, Bai Ye was still covered in bruises. After several rounds of fighting, Bai Ye roughly figured out Hanzo's true identity. This was a ninja who performed the tradition vividly and was worthy of the name of demigod. First of all, Hanzo's taijutsu is very powerful, and at his peak, it might be enough to kill an average jounin instantly. Secondly, when Hanzo joins forces with Sanshuyu, he can release the poisonous gas to clear out the miscellaneous fish. He has no major shortcomings in the 3 aspects of ninja taigen. It is the pinnacle of what a mortal can achieve in the ninja world. The only pity is that Hanzo does not have the blood inheritance limit. He is just an ordinary person. After losing the psychic beast Sanshuyu and having too much energy consumed by the will battle, Hanzo had begun to show symptoms of physical exhaustion and did not dare to be injured again. But Bai Ye is different, because he has the Uzumaki bloodline and the Mudoin bloodline. His basic statistics are extremely powerful, and the flesh on his body can be restored in an instant, with only a small amount of chakra consumed. Therefore, even if his proficiency in taijutsu and ninjutsu is not as good as Hanzo's, Byakuya can still have the upper hand. After seeing the scratches on Bai Ye's body at a speed visible to the naked eye, Hanzo's mouth twitched slightly. He really didn't expect Bai Ye to have such strength. If you are so powerful, why would you want to join the Akatsuki organization? Wouldn't it be better to join the Hidden Rain village directly? After pondering for a moment, Hanzo took off his gas mask and began to breathe freely. letting the poisonous gas in his body vent to the surroundings without holding anything back. A click. Hanzo and Byakuya collided again, and their swords collided with brilliant sparks. After regaining the distance, Bai Ye glanced at Hanzo, who had taken it off, turned around and put on the gas mask, and by the way, covered his body with a sealing barrier. Immediately afterwards, Bai Ye used the teleportation technique to appear in front of Hanzo, and slowly raised his palm. With a pop, a wooden thorn directly pierced Hanzo's body. Hanzo looked at the wooden thorn coming out of his body, his eyes widened, and he looked at Bai Ye in disbelief. That was no ordinary weapon, it was the would-release blood successor that had been lost for a long time in the ninja world. Byakuya not only mastered the seal of the Uzumaki clan, but also possessed the blood successor of the first Hokage's would-release. Bai Ye saw the horror in Hanzo's eyes and said calmly, "Teacher Hanzo, you better surrender. If you surrender now, I can guarantee you the safety of Yuin village. You don't want to see the villagers and loyal subordinates get hurt." Hanzo was still in a state of shock. The stimulation brought to him by would-release was too great. Although he claimed to be a demigod in the ninja world, it was just a face given by his peers, which did not mean that he was truly a demigod. The first Hokage's god of ninja is different. It was a title that was only born after Senju Hashirama became invincible in the ninja world. It has a very high gold content. After hearing Bai Ye's speech clearly, Hanzo gradually came to his senses. This cheap disciple of his seems to be using the people and subordinates to threaten him with a sneak attack. He does not have the grandeur that Mudun Shueji should have. Anyway, he looks like a conspirator hiding in the corner. He, and even Yahiko of the Akatsuki organization, seem to have been taken advantage of by Byakuya. Bai Ye is the mastermind behind all this and the ultimate winner. After looking at Bai Ye with a complicated expression, Hanzo nodded towards Bai Ye, then waved to the remaining subordinates and said, "Surrender, we lose this time." After hearing this, the Amigakure ninjas who were still fighting put down their weapons and chose to surrender. For them, many Akatsuki ninjas were former companions and could not be cruel. Hanzo's words at this time gave them a suitable reason to surrender. Soon, only the root ninjas were left on the battlefield and continued to struggle, but under the attack of the Akatsuki organization, these people couldn't make any splash at all, and they quickly died or escaped. This time, the Hongmen banquet, jointly planned by Hanzo and Danzo, was miscalculated after all. Chapter 83: The Birth of the Will of Dawn. You are listening at novelfull.audio. On the way back, Hanzo got into the prison car that White Knight once sat in. The decoration of the prison car was luxurious and comfortable, but it could not change the fact that Hanzo was a prisoner. Looking at the gray sky, Hanzo felt extremely complicated. He doesn't know where he lost. Is it because of the decline in strength caused by old age, or because of the loss of faith? But now he is just a loser, and he still doesn't know what his future destiny will be. Unlike Sancho Hanzo, the Akatsuki members responsible for escorting Hanzo felt that the scene in front of them was a bit fake and not very real. In just a few days, the Akatsuki organization has grown from an underground organization active in the Land of Rain to a powerful organization capable of defeating Danzo and Hanzo. The hero of Amigakure was captured alive by Byakuya. Why Hanzo surrendered, they didn't know, but what is certain is that Hanzo lost miserably when he competed with the top management of the Akatsuki organization. After checking the seal on Hanzo, Byakuya returned to Yahiko and others. Yahiko, who was a little confused about the situation, asked in confusion, "Byakuya, what happened after you were taken to Yuin village? Why did he suddenly become Hanzo's apprentice and control Sanshuyu? Also, what did you say to Hanzo to make him surrender?" Hearing Yahiko's question, Konan also looked at Bai Ye. The two of them had too many doubts that they wanted answered. Bai Ye showed a mysterious expression, looked around cautiously, and then said, "It's because of the will of Akatsuki. I firmly believe in the will of Akatsuki. It was this will that gave me the strength to see through Hanzo's conspiracy and successfully persuaded teacher Hanzo to surrender." Byakuya's answer was very formulaic, but Yahiko and Konan felt as if they had swallowed flies. Who doesn't know that in the organization, you are the one who least believes in the organization's philosophy? And isn't it still in the philosophy stage? Why did it suddenly become the will of dawn? Moreover, things like the will of the dawn cannot improve one's strength. Facing the suspicious looks from Yahiko and Konan, Byakuya looked innocent. He clearly knew his companions. This is such a fearless spirit. Unfortunately, Yahiko and Konan just didn't believe it. His strength has indeed improved with the development of the Akatsuki organization. To be honest, in desperation, Bai Ye slowly said, I just told Mr. Hanzo that if he is unwilling to surrender, I will control the Sanzho fish to release poison in Yuin village. After hearing this, Yahiko and Konan took a deep breath, but nodded anyway. It turns out that Byakuya used the lives of civilians to coerce Hanzo into surrendering. Although it was very cruel and inhumane, it was indeed something that Byakuya could do. After a pause, Bai Ye continued, as for the matter in Yuin village, I deployed spies in advance. I have known for a long time that Hanzo wanted to take action against the Akatsuki organization, but you guys never believed it. As for hiding Hanzo's secrets, it's easy. You just need to find someone to use the transformation technique. As for tempting Hanzo to initiate a war. That's it. Yahiko stretched out his hand to stop Bai Ye from continuing. He didn't want to listen to Bai Ye's explanation of the details. Byakuya used Versailles to pretend that he could ignore it, but how did he lure Hanzo into actively provoking a war? Bai, aren't you a victim? Why was it already planned? If Byakuya continued talking, Yahiko himself began to doubt the nature of the Akatsuki organization. The Akatsuki organization is obviously an organization that loves peace and advocates mutual understanding, but now it sounds like it has ulterior motives, like a terrorist organization active underground. You asked first. Bai Ye looked aggrieved. Yahiko couldn't stand such a look, but things had already reached this point, and it would be useless for him to pursue it further. However, the Akatsuki organization is freed from the restrictions of Yuin village and can develop freely. At this time, Xiaonan realized that the road ahead was not the way back to the base, and wondered, Yahiko, Byakuya, this doesn't seem to be the route to the base. Of course not. We took over Rain Hidden Village in the past. After defeating Hanzo, we will be the rulers of the Rain Kingdom. Byakuya and Yahiko shook their heads together. On this point, they still have a consensus. The Akatsuki organization defeated Sanjiae, and Yuin village will naturally fall under the management of the Akatsuki organization. With Yuin village as a platform, we can better develop the Akatsuki organization. A few hours later, Bai Ye and others arrived at Yuin village. Looking at the Yuin village shrouded in rain, Yahiko felt a little excited and a little nervous. The excitement is that the Akatsuki organization can finally own a ninja village, but the worry is, can they really manage a ninja village in a country in the future? He still remembered what Hanzo said to him. He was a little worried that he would become the next Hanzo in the future, and then be defeated by the next Akatsuki organization, starting a never-ending cycle. When they arrived at the gate of Yuin village, there were two forces confronting each other outside. Ever since Byakuya was taken away by the psychic technique, the atmosphere in Amigakure village has become strange. Two ninja factions, representing the Akatsuki organization and Hanzo, are facing each other in the village, as if a fight may start in the next second. However, they all know that the real outcome can only be decided on the main battlefield, so each other maintained restraint. At this time, the two forces noticed Bai Ye and others. The ninjas of Hanzo's line knew that their leader had failed and that they had become losers. However, Hanzo's defeat does not mean that they have lost. As long as the ninja village is still there, they will rely on them. After putting down their weapons, they showed a humble smile and greeted them respectfully. Sir Bai, welcome. Bai Ye glanced at the group of people and said calmly, if you have anything to do, please see leader Yahiko. I'm very busy, so don't come and disturb me. After saying that, Bai Ye walked towards the depths of Yuin village and disappeared in front of everyone. Bai Ye didn't have much interest in dealing with the grasshopper. Internal affairs are troublesome and of little benefit, so it is better to leave them to an approachable person like Yahiko. It would be better for him to quietly be the major shareholder. Moreover, Hanzo has collected a lot of property over the years and needs his disciple to take care of it. After Bai Ye left, Amigakure Jonin turned to look at Yahiko, and said with a flattering expression, Yahiko-sama, can we talk? Yahiko took a deep breath and nodded. He knew that these people were just outsiders, but unlike Bai Ye, he had to get used to dealing with this group of people. If they could not be dealt with properly, sooner or later, this group of people would become a hidden danger in the village. He planned to use the rules of the Akatsuki organization to restrain the behavior of these people and slowly transform the hidden rain village and the country of rain. Chapter 84 Leader Change. You are listening at novelfull.audio. 3 days have passed since the Akatsuki organization took control of Yuin village. During these 3 days, the ninjas of Amigakure village went from being uneasy at first to gradually adapting to the rules of the Akatsuki organization. Generally speaking, the rules of the Akatsuki organization are not much different from those during the Hanzo period. However, the newly appointed Yahiko is much more conscientious than the failed Hanzo. Not only can he handle the commissions from all over the land of rain on time, but he is also very concerned about the villagers and grassroots ninjas. Being able to do this is enough to make the villagers of Yuin village love them. After all, Yuin village during the Hanzo period had a poor reputation. Of course, in the past few days, many Hanzo remnants have noticed Yahiko's gentleness and want to use it to cause trouble, but they often disappear before they can take action. This reminded the remaining ninjas of Amigakure village of Byakuya's terror. Unlike the weak Yahiko, Byakuya would really punch hard and attack all disobedient ninjas. Under the dual offensive of carrots and sticks, the Akatsuki organization basically completed the takeover of Yuin village. After everything settled down, Byakuya was called to the Amigakure building, looking at Yahiko sitting on the leader's seat of Amigakure, as well as Nagato, Konan and others beside him. Byakuya frowned subconsciously and asked, "Yahiko, why did you call me here? Are the remnants of Hanzo causing trouble again?" Yahiko shook his head slightly, secretly thinking that Byakuya was too murderous, but without Byakuya's thunderous methods, the old Hanzo tribe in the village would never have died down. After pondering for a moment, Yahiko said, "I called you here today to fulfill our agreement that day. You still remember the bet between us?" Bai Ye nodded slightly, and then said, "Of course I remember, and you have already lost this bet." Hearing this, Yahiko sighed softly, and then said, "Yes, I overestimated Hanzo-senpai's courage. He actually attacked the Akatsuki organization. We obviously have no intention of ruling Amigakure village." I said, "You are too naive. Bai Ye, what you said is right." Yahiko nodded and continued, "So, now you are the leader of the Akatsuki organization. If you are willing, you can also become the leader of Amigakure village and lead us on." When Yahiko said this, Konan and Nagato were stunned, but they did not stop him. Although Byakuya is immature in some aspects, he is undoubtedly the biggest contributor to this battle. Without Byakuya, the Akatsuki organization may have to wait many years to control the Kingdom of Rain. More importantly, Yahiko realizes that he is weak and unfit to be the leader of the organization. "I will become the leader of the Akatsuki organization." After a pause, Bai Ye stared at Yahiko and said seriously, "But you should still be the leader of Amigakure village. I don't like dealing with nobles and officials. Compared to me, you are more like a real leader." What Bai Ye said was from the bottom of his heart. After passing the test and possessing the judgment and courage that a leader should have, Yahiko has become a qualified leader and the best choice for the leader of Amigakure village. He just needs to serve as the leader of the Akatsuki organization in the dark, and that's enough. In a few words, it was confirmed who would be the leader of the Akatsuki organization and who would be the leader of Amigakure village. As for Konan and Nagato, it was a matter of course that they became the elders of Amigakure. After that, Yahiko seriously asked Byakuya how to manage Amigakure village and the country of rain. Different from the previous times, Bai Ye did not make any boasts and directly handed a pamphlet to Yahiko. It contained some methods of governing the country that he had seen in the book in his previous life, which could provide Yahiko with a reference. After all, the past life and the ninja world are two different worlds, and many methods cannot be copied directly. Yahiko took the booklet and after casually flipping through a few pages, light gradually appeared in his eyes, and many of the previously tangled areas began to become clearer. After completing the replacement of the leader of the Akatsuki organization at the small meeting, Bai Ye planned to leave. Now that he has become the leader of the Akatsuki organization, he can expand his departments unscrupulously, so that he can get more feedback. Before leaving, Bai Ye suddenly remembered something important and turned to look at Yahiko. Being stared at by Bai Ye, Yahiko showed doubts in his eyes. "Bai Ye, is there anything else?" Bai Ye nodded, and then asked, "By the way, is the Akatsuki organization an organization under Yuin Village, or is Yuin Village affiliated with the Akatsuki organization? Does it make any difference? Yahiko didn't understand Byakuya's thoughts. Bai Ye shook his head, and then said, I think the status of the Akatsuki organization should be higher than that of the Hidden Rain Village. After all, our eyes cannot be limited to the Kingdom of Rain. Akatsuki's ideas need to be spread to the entire ninja world. Byakuya's words touched Yahiko's heart. The Akatsuki organization must not be limited to Amigakure village. However, the current strength of the Akatsuki organization is to control the Hidden Rain village. It will take several years to digest the Kingdom of Rain. It is a bit too ambitious to focus on the Kingdom of Rain now, but Yahiko is not someone who sticks to details, and said, if you wish, the status of the Akatsuki organization can be higher than that of Amigakure village, but the Akatsuki organization and Amigakure village are now one, and there is no difference. Just asking casually. Byakuya said as he left Yugakure's office. A series of system prompts rang in his ears. AIM Hidden Village XX joined the Akatsuki organization, and you obtained chakra fragments. XX from Yuin Village joined the Akatsuki organization, and you obtained the water escape fragment. Sanshoyu of Yuin Village joined the Akatsuki organization, and you obtained Sancho Toxin. Inin Village. After sitting on the central tower and clicking for several minutes, Bai Ye received all the rewards. System rewards include ninjutsu gift packs, as well as chakra insights and fragments. The addition of this group of rain ninjas did not bring Bai Ye advanced secret techniques and blood inheritance limits, but it improved Bai Ye's basic panel a lot. The final evaluation of the system also changed from first-time film level to mid-level film level. When it comes to the evaluation of the system's strength, Bai Ye usually chooses to believe it, but he doesn't believe it much. As a newbie at the shadow level, he can fight Hanzo back and forth. Although Hanzo didn't have Sanshoyu by his side, he had also been exhausted by the will battle, but he also doesn't have the ability to use would release ninjutsu and yin-yang release on a large scale. Both sides have reservations, so what are the criteria for judging this new Kage level? This is a questionable question. Without hesitating for too long, Bai Ye closed the system panel and walked towards the ANBU base. He still had one important thing to complete, that is to convince Hanzo to join the Akatsuki organization. Although this old demigod strength and mentality are not as good as before, he still has a high value for use. It would be a pity if he was directly made into Pain's Tiandao. Chapter 85 Death of Demigod. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the VIP prison of the Umbu base, Byakuya saw Hanzo with a depressed face. After losing to the juniors of the Akatsuki organization, this demigod seemed to have lost all his energy and spirit. He looked like an old man waiting to die, exuding the stench of decay. After hearing footsteps in the corridor, Hanzo raised his eyelids. After seeing that the person coming was Bai Ye, Hanzo cheered up, his eyes full of complexity, and said slowly, "Boy Bai Ye, why are you here? Are you here to see me off?" Yahiko-sama wanted to kill the teacher, but with my help, he saved the teacher's life. You are the only one who really wants to kill me, Hanzo said helplessly. He knew that Byakuya was full of lies, but Yahiko was much more sincere and honest in comparison. If Byakuya hadn't been there, he would have played with the Death Dawn organization long ago. Bai Ye shook his head, sighed and said, "Obviously I saved the teacher's life, but the teacher still doubts my intentions. Does the teacher really think that I can kill leader Yahiko and others without joining the Akatsuki organization?" Hearing this, Hanzo narrowed his eyes slightly. He wanted to hear Bai Ye's sweet words. "Teacher Hanzo, do you know why I joined the Akatsuki organization? In addition to Nagato being a member of my race, it's also because Nagato was born with a pair of samsara eyes." Reincarnation eye. Hanzo looked stunned. During the previous battle, he suspected that Nagato's eyes were the Rinnegan. Now that I heard Bai Ye's personal confirmation, I was even more shocked. Although the Rinnegan is one of the three major pupil arts like Byakugan and Sharingan, it is the legendary eye owned by the Sage of Six Paths and is powerful enough to change the world. At this time, Bai Ye continued. "Teacher Hanzo, your strength is indeed very strong, but is it comparable to the Rinnegan eye? Remember Nagato's Shinra Tensei and all-seeing Tenshin, which are just one of the many abilities of the Rinnegan Eye. Nagato can't even exert 1/10 of them. The power of one. If the teacher really hurts Yahiko and makes Nagato go berserk, do you think you and the Amigakure village behind you will be spared? I'm just preventing Nagato and the others from losing hope. If they still feel despair, the world will also feel despair. Hanzo fell into silence, and his back was directly wet with sweat. If the reincarnation eye is really that strong, everything Bai Ye said is very likely to happen. By then, he will only die. However, after thinking carefully, Hanzo's eyes fell on Bai Ye. Compared to Nagato and others who have dreams and long for peace in their hearts, Byakuya is a real monster, no less terrifying than Nagato. First of all, Byakuya is 3 to 5 years younger than Nagato, but his mind is far beyond his age. Secondly, Bai Ye's strength cannot be underestimated at all. While he is proficient in the whirlpool sealing technique and the paper escape secret technique, he also has the wood escape blood inheritance limit. In that battle of several days, he was directly forced to surrender by force. At this age and with this strength, I'm afraid the first Hokage would not be able to do it even if he were resurrected. Thinking of this, Hanzo's eyes were full of fear, and he asked cautiously, Bai Ye, what do you want me to do? What is your ambition? Ambition? Bai Ye sneered, then seemed to remember something, and sighed softly. Maybe it's to see a world full of peace, maybe it's to restore the destroyed Uzushio village. Uzushio village, are you an Uzumaki ninja? Seeing Hanzo put on the trap, Bai Ye nodded gently. I used to be an Uzushio village ninja. I found Nagato and others in order to join them in establishing a new Uzushio village in the restoration of the Land of Rain. But just now, I changed my mind. I feel that Uzumaki village must be built on the land of Uzumaki country. In order to achieve this goal, I need to accumulate enough strength and still have room to occupy the land of Uzumaki country. Fight back. Hanzo stared at Bai Ye and asked, reviving the country is really a good ideal. What's going on with the wood release blood successor? I don't know about this either. I only recently awakened to the blood succession limit. Bai Ye showed a confused expression, and then said, however, this blood successor is very good at controlling people. I plan to plant a wood escape seed in your body to prevent you from contacting the old department. Since I chose to surrender, I won't think about making trouble. But I'm very curious about what Yahiko and the others will think after knowing your ambition. It is impossible for Yahiko to betray me. I will assist him in developing Amigakure village and the Kingdom of Rain. If Amigakure village cannot be developed into a ninja village that surpasses the 5 major ninja villages, there is no hope for Uzushio village to recover. At this point, Byakuya paused and stretched out his hand towards Hanzo. So, Teacher Hanzo, are you willing to join my Akatsuki organization and make the Land of Rain great again? Make the Land of Rain great again, Hanzo murmured to himself. From Bai Ye, he seemed to see himself in his younger days. The difference is that Byakuya is stronger than him and has greater ambitions than him. He not only wants to be on par with the 5 great ninja villages, but also wants to become the #1 ninja village. This was a dream he had never even thought about when he was young. He stretched out his arm tremblingly, and then retracted it like lightning. Hanzo said to himself. It's impossible. It's impossible for Rain Hidden Village to surpass the 5 great ninja villages. The fate of Rain Kingdom is to be limited to this place of 3 wars. No matter how many attempts are made, it will return to the original point, or even worse. Looking at Hanzo who had lost his ambition, Byakuya showed contempt and said sarcastically. Is this the demigod of the ninja world, Yahiko Nagato's former idol? It seems to be nothing more than that. Fear of revenge from the 5 great ninja villages is just an excuse. You are just greedy for pleasure and afraid of death. I admire Hanzo who wields his sword against the 5 great ninja villages, but I hate the corrupt demigods. Hearing Byakuya's ridicule, Hanzo knew that the other party was deliberately stimulating him and wanted him to regain his original intention, but his original intention had long been lost in the rain forest of the Land of Rain. However, for the hope of the country of Rain, Hanzo still sighed, and then said, Don't irritate me anymore. If it is for the country of Rain, I promise you. But my old bones are of no use anymore, so don't hold out much hope. At most, I can use my name as a demigod to buy you a few more years. Demigod? After hearing this, Bai Ye shook his head and said. Hidden Village does not need the protection of demigods, but the Akatsuki organization needs qualified instructors to train ninjas who walk in the darkness. If you want to join us, the first thing you should do is give up the name of demigod. The name of a demigod has no benefit other than attracting the wind. Chapter 86 Bai Ye's Strategy. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Byakuya's words caused Hanzo to fall into a brief silence. He didn't know why Byakuya disdained the name of demigod. Although there was a big gap between demigod and the god of ninja, the name of demigod brought real benefits to the country of rain. Without this name, the country of rain would most likely be involved in this ninja war. At that time, it will not be a civil war between the Akatsuki organization and Yuen village, but a great melee sweeping across several countries. This is the role of reputation. Just the prestige of a demigod is enough to deter those with evil intentions. Bai Ye guessed Hanzo's thoughts and said with sly eyes. If the rain-hidden village only huddles in the land of rain, the name of demigod will naturally have more advantages than disadvantages. But if it wants to expand externally, the name of demigod will actually become a drag. How can we develop and expand if everyone is afraid of demigods? What you said makes some sense. After pondering, Hanzo had to admit that Byakuya could see further than him. He just wanted to use his reputation as a demigod to protect the Kingdom of Rain, but this move aroused the fear of the major ninja villages. During this ninja world war, he also had the idea of annexing the surrounding small ninja villages. However, the Iwagakure and Konoha troops stationed at the border of Rain country made him give up the idea of participating in the war, and lost his last enterprising spirit. However, as a loser, Hanzo wanted to see Byakuya's views on the land of rain. Bai Ye didn't hide it. After slowly stretching out 2 fingers, he directly stated the strategy he planned to implement in the future. Simply put, Rain country wants to stand out among the many ninja villages. All you need to do is to accumulate food and slowly become the king. In layman's terms, it means vigorously developing infrastructure, military and economy. If you can be the last in the ninja war, you will be the last. After listening to Bai Ye's strategic plan, Hanzo frowned and said, Bai Ye, your idea is very good, but if we compete for development, Yuen village cannot compete with the 5 hidden villages. This is also true. The country of rain is far inferior to the 5 major countries in terms of land area and population. This is also the reason why the 5 major ninja villages have always been ahead of the other ninja villages. A sufficient population can give birth to enough ninjas. Even if more ninjas are lost in the war than the entire Amigakure village, the 5 major ninja villages can also be slowly replenished over time. After listening to Hanzo's words, Byakuya showed a mysterious smile. Yes, as long as the 5 great ninja villages don't fall into chaos, the Kingdom of Rain will never be able to compare with them. But this ninja world war is about to end. What will they do after losing the external conflict? They are in civil strife because of uneven distribution of benefits. Hanzo spoke the answer on Bai Ye's behalf. He had completely understood Bai Ye's thoughts. This was an above-board conspiracy, and all the Akatsuki organization needed to do was to lie dormant. However, only Byakuya, Yahiko and others from the Akatsuki organization can do this. Even if he knew this method, he couldn't implement it because he was already very old and might die in the hospital bed one day. Time was on Bai Ye's side. After hearing the future strategy of the Akatsuki organization, Hanzo was no longer interested in the specific details. It will take at least several years to implement Bai Ye's plan, and during these years, there will not be much turmoil in the Kingdom of Rain. Now, all he needs to do is serve as an instructor in the Akatsuki organization as a dead person and silently manage Yuen village. When Hanzo made a decision in his heart, Bai Ye also received rewards from the system. Hanzo joined the Akatsuki organization, and you obtained the Hanzo fluid technique. Hanzo joined the Akatsuki organization, and you received water escape, water instant, and a high-level water escape gift package. Hanzo joined the Akatsuki organization, and you got Sans Ho fish. Seedlings. A series of rewards made Bai Ye very satisfied. the gains that Hanzo brought to him by joining the Akatsuki organization even exceeded those of Yuin villages joining the Akatsuki organization, but think about it, Amigakure village itself is very weak, and it has always been supported by Hanzo to maintain its reputation as the 6th largest ninja village, in the original plot. After losing a series of shadow-level powerhouses such as Hanzo, Nagato, and Konan, the Kingdom of Rain was brought back to its original shape and completely reduced to a place of chaos. After receiving the reward, Bai Ye rubbed out the would escape seeds with his hands and handed them to Hanzo. Looking at the Muduan seed in Bai Ye's hand, Hanzo's face turned ugly, but he still swallowed it. Bai Ye, do you really not believe me? Are you still using this method? Byakuya watched Hanzo swallow it and said seriously, Teacher Hanzo, this is good for you and me. I'm not a hot-blooded idiot like Yahiko. I have to have a backup for everything. Hanzo's face darkened, and his good impression of Bai Ye also dissipated a lot. However, with such scheming and methods, it seems that the Akatsuki organization will not be left behind by others like him. This time, he just misjudged the person and was betrayed by Danzo. Otherwise, if he and Danzo, the Hokage's assistant, join forces, at least this battle will not be lost so miserably. And if it weren't for Danzo's bewitchment, he wouldn't even be able to take action against the Akatsuki organization. Thinking of this, Hanzo's face turned serious and he said to Bai Ye, by the way, there is one more important thing I forgot to tell you. Danzo, who is cooperating with me, may still be in the Land of Rain. You may not know Danzo. Danzo is Konoha's Hokage advisor and has a similar status in Konoha. Having said this, Hanzo paused and glanced at Bai Ye. Byakuya ignored Hanzo's eyes, shook his head and said, Teacher Hanzo, you mean Danzo-senpai? I know him. Danzo-senpai? Hanzo noticed Byakuya's address to Danzo, and his face started to look strange. Is there still a connection between Byakuya and Danzo? The person who really cooperates with Danzo shouldn't be Byakuya. Bai Ye nodded slightly and then said, it's Senior. Like Hanzo-sensei, Danzo-senpai is also someone I respect. When I was still weak, Danzo-senpai invested in me and gave me a lot of help. Later, Danzo-senpai also provided many plans to seize power and help me become the leader of the Akatsuki organization. He was an amiable and good senior. The last time we met, he ran away too fast, otherwise I would still want to reminisce with him. After all, if it weren't for him, I probably wouldn't be the leader of the Akatsuki organization now. Senior, let's reminisce. After hearing the keyword, Hanzo breathed a sigh of relief. He roughly guessed Byakuya's experience. Danzo might have wanted to take advantage of Byakuya just like him before, but was killed by Byakuya and was forced to escape from the Kingdom of Rain. As for what Bai Ye said about respect and reminiscing about the past, he always listened to it the other way around. Byakuya must have already thought of a way to deal with Danzo. There is no need for him to worry too much about this. He should think about how to retire in the Akatsuki organization. The age of demigods has passed. Chapter 87 Party A. You are listening at novelfull.audio. A few hours after Byakuya left the Amigakure prison, rumors spread in the prison that Hanzo had committed suicide. After being interrogated for several hours, the demigod who used to be famous in the ninja world chose to commit suicide because he could not bear the humiliation. At the last moment, he maintained the dignity of the demigod. The gossip didn't spread long before it was declared a rumor by Yahiko, the current leader of Amigakure. Hanzo, the former leader of Yuin village, did not die. He was just imprisoned in Yuin village prison and was not allowed to go out at will. He could be released from prison after serving his sentence. Faced with the clarification from Yahiko, some ninjas chose to believe it. On the other hand, the ninjas believed that Hanzo was really dead, otherwise there would be no need for people from the Akatsuki organization to come forward to clarify the rumors. This move by the Akatsuki organization was simply a cover-up, but to most ninjas, it doesn't matter whether Hanzo lives or dies. The era belonging to Hanzo has ended, and the new era belonging to the Akatsuki organization has just arrived. After spreading rumors of the demigod's death, Byakuya took Hanzo to the ANBU base. He planned to let Hanzo serve as the part-time instructor of the ANBU captain, responsible for eliminating ninjas who deliberately backtested the Amigakure village, and training new ANBU recruits. after putting on the fire cloud suit and wearing the evil ghost mask, Hanzo met Byakuya's men. Byakuya's men looked very energetic and looked like elite ninjas who had experienced hundreds of battles. However, after witnessing their training process, Hanzo became suspicious of the origins of this group of people. This group of ninjas is very powerful, and everyone has fighting power above Chunin level. However, there are various styles of ninjutsu and taijutsu, including ninjutsu from Konoha and secret techniques from Tsunegakure and Iwagakure. How did these hodgepodge ninjas come together? Could it be that he was caught? Thinking of this, Hanzo looked at Bai Ye, who nodded. These people used to be spies who infiltrated the Akatsuki organization. Under the influence of Akatsuki's will, they finally chose to join the dark department of the Akatsuki organization. You must find a way to train them into qualified elites to protect the Kingdom of Rain. After hearing that Bai Ye's men were all spies from various countries who were forced to serve, Hanzo's face darkened. The composition of these people was too complicated. Are they really not worried about betrayal by their men? However, after thinking of Bai Ye's methods, Hanzo was relieved. Under the double suppression of Muduan and Cursed Seal, even if this group of people escaped, there was no possibility of survival, and based on his understanding of the Akatsuki organization, this group of people might really agree with the Akatsuki organization's philosophy. After all, except for Bai Ye, most of the people in the Akatsuki organization are naive idiots. At this time, Bai Ye suddenly looked at Hanzo and asked, "Try your best, if it doesn't work, forget it." After being looked down upon by Bai Ye, Hanzo said in a dull voice, "Although I am no longer in peak condition, I am still more than enough to train these people. As long as you give me a few months, I will train them all into Jonin. I hope." Bai Ye said with doubt in his tone. "Don't worry." Hanzo said seriously, since he agreed to become an instructor of ANBU, he would definitely fulfill his agreement and use these ANBU to vent his grievances. In the past few days, he had accumulated a lot of anger in his stomach. After hearing Hanzo's assurance, Byakuya turned and left. Byakuya wasn't very interested in the scene of Hanzo educating newbies, so he might as well go back to the office and rest. After returning to the office and sitting down on the leather recliner, Bai Ye tapped his fingers on the table while thinking about today's work content. After reaching his level, he can work whenever he wants, which can be regarded as an extremely free life. This is the biggest difference between working and starting a business. One is for yourself and the other is for the boss. However, even if there is no boss above him, he still has his own worries, which is dealing with the party A who provides the task. Only when party A is made comfortable serving you can you continuously earn gold coins. After closing his eyes and concentrating for a while, Bai Ye took out a pen and paper from the drawer and started writing a letter. The content of the letter is very simple. It simply reports on the recent work content, expresses gratitude to Party A for its help, and looks forward to the next cooperation. After writing the letter, Bai Ye used necromancy to summon the ninja eagle. After solving the root spy, Byakuya did not kill the psychic beast ninja eagle. On the one hand, it was because the eagle was very popular, and on the other hand, he wanted to maintain contact with Danzo and see if he could cooperate next time. In this operation to deal with Hanzo, Danzo made great efforts. If only Danzo had not put the blame on him and reached cooperation with Hanzo against the Akatsuki organization, the Akatsuki organization might still be hiding in the ravines, with no chance of annexing Amigakure village. In this regard, Danzo is even the biggest hero of the Akatsuki organization, and he doesn't need any benefits. Byakuya has always admired Danzo's behavior of burning himself and illuminating others. As for Danzo betraying him, these are trivial matters. If he didn't have Goldfinger, he would have run away long ago. But with Goldfinger and knowing the follow-up plot, he has actually always had the initiative, and Danzo has always been played by him. Moreover, when he was at the meeting place, he actually had a way to prevent Danzo from escaping. But after careful consideration, he still chose to give up the pursuit. On the one hand, he does not want to reveal too much strength. If something like the Mayfly technique is discovered by Heiju, it will be very troublesome and will seriously affect subsequent plans. On the other hand, a living Danzo is more useful than a dead one. As long as Danzo is around, Konoha will be in chaos for a long time. Konoha is the strongest ninja village in the ninja world. If it is really monolithic, it will be very detrimental to the subsequent development of the Akatsuki organization. The most important thing is that he and Danzo are both mature ninjas. Mature ninjas care about interests and do not consider personal grudges. Tianzui's pie drawing operation won't work. You need real benefits to impress them. Once there is a possibility of progress, betraying allies is just a routine operation. In the future, there may be an opportunity for Danzo to work together to weaken Konoha. After feeling a sigh of relief in his heart, Bai Ye tied the letter to Ninja Eagle's calf and let Ninja Eagle fly. Soon, the Ninja Eagle turned into a black spot in the sky and disappeared into the distant sky. After finishing all this, Bai Ye turned around and looked at Heiju beside him. This Heiburyukyu figure that resembled a pitcher plant was his current only boss Heiju. After disappearing for a few days, Heiju finally appeared in front of him again. Bai Ye was a little confused about the reason for Heiju's disappearance, but did not ask. After silently watching the Ninja Eagle soar, Black Zetsu looked at Byakuya, who had become the leader of Akatsuki. Bai Ye, congratulations on becoming the leader of the Akatsuki organization. You are one step closer to our plan to rule the world. Chapter 88 Nagato senses something is wrong. You are listening at novelfull.audio. This is all thanks to the help of Senior Black Zetsu. In front of Black Zetsu, Byakuya behaved very politely. Without the yin-yang release and would release ninjutsu contributed by Black Zetsu, it would not have been so easy for him to take down the rain-hidden village. What's more important is that he is still very young in front of Heiju, the mastermind who has been lurking for thousands of years. Black Zetsu was very satisfied with Byakuya's respectful attitude. This ninja he personally recruited was more obedient than Uchiha Madara. After some pleasantries, Bai Ye looked at Heiju and asked directly, Senior Heiju, does he have any instructions when he comes here this time? Should our next step be to attack the 5 major countries, or be dormant temporarily? Let's stay dormant for now. We don't have the strength to attack the 5 major countries yet. Hearing this, Bai Ye said anxiously, what about the restoration of the country? The land of the rain country is too barren, and even Yahiko and Nagato are opposed to my proposal. Only by attacking the 5 major countries can. I know you are anxious, but you really can't be anxious this time. Akatsuki can currently defeat Hanzo, but it does not mean that he is the opponent of Konoha and Iwagakure. The time is not yet ripe. After a pause, Heiju continued, when the time is right, I will help you restore your country. Black Zetsu can't wait to resurrect the Ten-Tails and save his mother from the seal in the next second, but his 1,000 years of failed experience tells him that everything cannot be rushed. You must accumulate enough power to start the Moon Eye project, and this time, in addition to Indra's power, he also planned to use Azura's methods. After he controlled all the great powers of the ninja world, he did not believe that the Eye of the Moon plan could fail. He came here to look for Bai Ye this time to let Bai Ye grow obscenely. If Bai Ye attacks the country of Whirlpool in advance and returns to the country of Whirlpool, it will inevitably arouse the vigilance of the 5 major ninja villages. After hearing Heiju's words, Bai Ye's face was full of struggle, and it took a long time to accept the reality that he could not restore his country. After seeing this, Black Zetsu also began to have a headache. If Byakuya launched a war against other ninja villages while he was away, that would be a real trouble. How to explain the Eye of the Moon plan to Bai Ye in the future is also a difficult problem. Now he can only take one step at a time. The thugs and subordinates he is eyeing are not easy to worry about. After briefly explaining Bai Ye, Heizei was about to use the mayfly technique to leave the office. In addition to looking for Bai Ye, he also had other information to collect. At this time, Heiju suddenly remembered something, and then said, by the way, there is one more thing. One of my subordinates will graduate soon and may join the Akatsuki organization in the future. After saying that, Heiju left. After sensing that Black Zetsu was moving in the direction of Nagato, Byakuya's smile faded a lot. His words just now were not only to maintain the character of Morong Byakuya, but also to test the current trends of Black Zetsu and even Uchiha Madara. Judging from Black Zetsu's words, they have no plans to directly attack the 5 great ninja villages for the time being. This is undoubtedly beneficial to himself and the Akatsuki organization. With the current strength of the Akatsuki organization, occupying the Kingdom of Rain is already the limit, and even the surrounding small countries are unable to annex it. however, Heiju's last words reminded him and allowed him to obtain a lot of information. The new member recommended by Black Zetsu, if nothing else, should be Obito. With Obito joining, the Akatsuki organization may become more interesting in the future. And although Obito is impersonal, he is a good hand at dealing with Konoha. The most important thing is that Obito's joining means that Uchiha Madara is offline. This is good news. Young Uchiha is always much easier to deal with than old Uchiha. He was already looking forward to meeting Obito. Not long after, Black Zetsu found Nagato and Konan in the Hidden Rain village. At this time, Nagato and Shaonan were staying in the orphanage, taking care of orphans displaced by the war. Originally, there was no welfare home in Yuin village, but after the Akatsuki organization took over the village, there was an orphanage in Yuin village to take in orphans and support the elderly. Hanzo's inheritance provided a source of funding for it. This measure was proposed by Bai Ye. The purpose was to win people's hearts. It was very simple and straightforward. Yahiko did not believe that Bai Ye was just trying to win people's hearts, but he could not object to the establishment of the orphanage. After the orphanage was built, Shaonan became the first director. Looking at the slender orphans in front of them, Nagato and Konan felt sad in their hearts. They thought of their former selves and secretly vowed in their hearts that nothing like this would ever happen again. Black Zetsu had a headache when he saw this scene. If Nagato had not turned black, how could he have become the executor of the Eye of the Moon plan? Without the Samsara Eye, it would have been impossible to collect tailed beasts with the heretic golem. If it were in the past, he would have been thinking of ways to turn Nagato into a black man. Only after all beauty and hope are lost can the seeds of hatred be born to burn the entire world. But now that Bai Ye, the restorer of the country, is here, there is no need to worry about this. Bai Ye will definitely lead the Akatsuki organization to launch a war, and he needs to consider how to delay this process. After using secret techniques to record this scene into a video, Heiju quietly left the orphanage. At this time, Nagato seemed to sense something. He looked in the direction Heizetsu left, frowned and said, "Why do I feel like someone is spying on us? Peeping on us?" Shaonan looked around and found nothing, then said, "Nagato, have you been helping at the construction site for too long recently? You are overworked and have hallucinations." Nagato shook his head. Although he had been using the Vientiane Sky Guide to move bricks on the construction site, he had never had any problems with his perception. He was certain that someone must be spying on him and Shaonan in the dark. Seeing Nagato's serious expression, Konan quickly asked, "Could it be Byakuya? He has always had the habit of being elusive, and he also likes to use paper clones to supervise work. I'm very familiar with Byakuya's chakra. I can be sure that the other party is not Byakuya. The other party may be the Rain Ninja who opposes Yahiko, or he may be a spy from other ninja villages." Nagato felt that something was wrong with this matter, but he had no solution. He could only shake his head and said, "Forget it, I will go to Bai Ye later and tell him about it." It can only be the. Shaonan also nodded. Although she didn't sense anything, she didn't dare to take it lightly. The Akatsuki organization eliminated Hanzo's opponent, but they also moved from behind the scenes to the front desk. Secretly, they didn't know how many pairs of eyes were staring at them, so they could only be more careful. While Nagato and Konan were discussing chakra, Black Zetsu had already arrived in the underground space. This time, Uchiha Madara did not stay with Obito, but sat on the stone bench, quietly waiting for Black Zetsu's return. After noticing the arrival of Black Zetsu, Madara Uchiha suddenly opened his eyes and asked in a faint tone, "Hey Zetsu, how is the situation over there with Nagato?" Chapter 89 Death and Birth of Shura. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Madara-sama, this is what happened. Black Zetsu took a deep breath and told Madara Uchiha exactly what happened in the past few days, which even included his contact with Byakuya, but he still made slight changes in key places. When he heard that the Akatsuki organization was being targeted by Hanzo, Uchiha Madara didn't have much interest. In his opinion, it was only a matter of time before the Akatsuki organization was targeted by Hanzo. Hanzo might have been passionate when he was young, but ideals would change over time. Someone kept saying that he founded the village for his companions, but in order to protect the village, he can attack his best and most important companion from behind. So Hanzo is no longer the Hanzo he was before, and this all makes sense, and that brat Byakuya dared to believe the enemy's words. He deserved to be betrayed. After experiencing these things, Nagato should be able to feel the cruelty of the ninja world. Next, it should be the plot of Nagato using the Rinnegan to make a comeback for his companions, Uchiha Madara thought confidently, but Black Zetsu told a completely different experience, which made Uchiha Madara's heart a lot of trouble, and he couldn't help but say. You mean, Byakuya used the white Zetsu you provided to deceive Hanzo and Danzo, and finally controlled the Sancho fish, reversing the unfavorable situation. That's the situation. Heiju nodded. After hearing this, Uchiha Madara fell into silence. He thought that he was just inferior to Byakuya in terms of teaching level, but he did not expect that he was inferior in terms of strategy. Back then, he relied on Izanagi to fake his death and successfully survived Hashirama, although he was a little regretful that he could not defeat Hashirama with his own hands. A win is a win. Even if he goes wild on Konoha Shadow Rock, no one can stop him now. After all, the ninja world is still a formidable young man, but it is a pity that he is not in peak condition now. White Zetsu on Black Zetsu said with a playful smile, Master Madara, we did not disappoint you this time. Now the Eye of the Moon project has a new helper. New helper. Uchiha Madara snorted coldly, acquiescing, although in his heart he wanted Obito to be the executor of the Eye of the Moon project. There is no harm in having multiple helpers, and Byakuya also has the Uzumaki bloodline, and he only needs to transplant Hashirama cells to become the container of the Samsara Eye. From this aspect, Black Zetsu did a great job, and it was worthy of his will. However, the most important thing now is to let Obito feel the malice from the entire world and give birth to a pair of eyes that can carry out the Eye of the Moon plan. At this time, Black Zetsu glanced around and found that Obito was nowhere to be seen, and asked in confusion, Madara-sama, where is Obito going? Has the plan started? Uchiha nodded and said calmly, yes, the plan has already begun. It's almost time for me to go to hell, but before I die, I still have a few words to tell you. First, after I die, I will monitor Obito's every move and work with him to weaken the 5 great ninja villages. Collect the 9 great-tailed beasts. Second, prepare a suitable corpse for me. I will be resurrected in my prime. Third, tell Obito at the right time that what happened to him is my conspiracy. Even if you hate me, you must complete the Eye of the Moon plan. Yes, Madara-sama. After listening to Uchiha Madara's explanation, Black Zetsu nodded solemnly. He wants to realize infinite Tsukimi more than anyone else, but it is not certain whether he will resurrect Uchiha Madara or not. It starts from the moment Madara obtains Azura Chakra and gives birth to the Samsara Eye. Uchiha Madara has lost his value, and he also hates Madara's gesticulating behavior. Uchiha Madara glanced at Black Zetsu for the last time, and then without hesitation tore off the nutrition tube. After losing the life force transmission, he closed his eyes forever. This Shura who once looked down upon the ninja world finally died in a dark corner. After watching Uchiha Madara's soul go to the Pure Land, Black Zetsu looked in the direction of the exit. Soon, his other chess piece Obito would be back. A one-sided massacre was taking place near the coastline of the Country of Fire. Obito, wearing the white Zetsu armor, is killing Kirigakure Anbu in the form of a demon. In front of the Would Escape and Manjikyu Sharingan, no Kirigakure Anbu is an enemy of Ichigo. After losing most of their teammates, the remaining Kirigakure Anbu lost their will to fight and began to flee in all directions. They didn't understand why they encountered such a monster when they were on a mission to escort the 3-tailed Jinchuriki and let them run rampant in the center of Konoha. Moreover, Mu-dun had not disappeared for decades, so why would he appear in an Uchiha? Konoha has such terrifying combat power, why not show it in advance, but wait until this time? Is this a conspiracy, Konoha's conspiracy to weaken Kirigakure village? Thinking of this, Kirigakure Anbu felt that the logic suddenly became clearer. Konoha deliberately showed weakness to the enemy and created opportunities to kill all the elites of Kirigakure. The previous incident of the 7 ninja swordsmen is the best evidence. How could a mediocre genin kill 4 ninja swordsmen? Now another mysterious Uchiha has appeared and wiped out dozens of members of the Kirigakure Anbu. He must survive and convey this news to the Sandaime. However, the next moment, Obito appeared in front of Kirigakure Anbu. After a wooden thorn was inserted into the body, the wooden escape seeds that absorbed chakra grew rapidly, growing into a huge tree in the sky within a few seconds. After killing all the enemies, Obito sat on the ground and panted heavily. After using the white Zetsu armor to restore some chakra, Obito came to Kakashi and Noara Rin and stretched out his finger. Kakashi just passed out and was still breathing, but Lin, whose chest was penetrated, had turned into a cold corpse, too dead to die anymore. Obito forced himself to calm down, but his tone was still trembling. "Faye, can you save Lin? Do you want me to kill Kakashi?" He killed Lin. Faye, who was always talkative, fell into silence, and then said, "We white Zetsu don't die that easily, but humans don't know that. As for Kakashi, you can kill him if you want. After killing him, go back quickly, otherwise Madara-sama will find out and they will punish us. It doesn't matter what kind of thing you punish, the point is that Lin is dead." Obito could no longer control his emotions and yelled at Afei, but Afei did not respond. Just as he could not understand the meaning of convenience, he could not understand human emotions. A few minutes later, Obito picked up Lin's body, looked at Kakashi lying on the ground and said, "No matter what the reason is, I can't forgive you for killing Lin. It would be too easy for you to kill you. Just feel the pain with this guilt." After saying that, Obito rushed in the direction of Uchiha Madara. He still held a glimmer of hope in his heart, hoping that Old Man Uchiha could save Lin. Old Man Madara is a ninja as powerful as the god of ninja, so he will definitely find a way.